I'm sure you know that the throw itself is all kind of intertwined, right? Like something breaks down, get hit with a ripple effect. So in terms of what the first component of the mechanics of the throw is, and I look at it like from the lower body kind of initiates the throw and then upper body follows suit. The drive leg impact segmentation mechanics is what I'm saying, right? So like the drive leg, if we don't allow the drive leg to absorb, produce, store, and then buy us time in our stride, then what's going to happen is we're not going to get our lower half in a specific posture that creates stretch with, upper body. Your upper body's good. Your arm action, I think, is pretty solid in terms of like the positioning, but you not getting your hips into rotation is going to then force you to not be able to clear with that lead leg. And that's going to limit the amount of stretch we can get in terms of like rotational energy, which is, I would say, accounts for the majority of energy production in a throw. And it totally makes sense, dude, why I think in your assessment, you had a ton of shoulder impingements, you had a ton of arm action stuff going on, because I think when it comes to the body's compensations, like you're a superior athlete, your body's going to be a superior compensator. When it comes to the compensations of not allowing your body to create as much rotational energy, or what I say is like stretch as possible, like the arm's just going to force its way to create its own energy. And the more times, the more reps that we do that, right, again and again, it's going to wear down. So the whole goal of the throw is to make sure that we're utilizing energy from throughout the body. And it starts, like I said, with the drive leg into segmentation mechanics, which is the combination of rotation of the hips and rotation of the torso. Like I said earlier, you have a good foundation with the torso. Like I said, I like your arm action, dude. Like it looks clean. It looks clean into its retraction phase. I just think there's this piece that I want to get into now, kind of same concept, but it's this drive leg and it's this little perception of power is what I would call like this drive leg pushing up instead of pushing down. All right. And this is going to kind of make more sense when we get into the comparisons. But if we have this, you can see it here too, right? Like let's zoom it in. As soon as it goes, like it's good. It's holding, giving us a little bit of space. It's buying us a little bit of time. But then there's this little pop. And I think this would affect the timing, the finger placement, all of those little tiny nuances of like ball release, all these little things. If we have a little pop from the ground with our drive leg, if it's going up and not down and not sinking down into rotation, sinking down into that lead leg block, if that's not happening, then the arm action is going to follow suit. So if there's this little pop like you see here, right, that from the lower half is going to influence that from the upper half too. And that's why I think you can even see it here, right? Like your fingers aren't quite getting behind the ball. Like you said, you have like a ton of inconsistencies. And I think that's it. That's the point of obviously an infielder's throwing mechanics is there's so much deviation. There's times where you have a play where you have a ton of time. There's times when you have a play and you have no time, right? The goal would be to create this familiarity of like what the body's sequencing needs to do. And this is a byproduct, right, of you popping up here. This is a byproduct of you not getting into that drive leg load. Staying down is what I would say for a lot of guys that I work with is like stay down in that hip, right? Stay down in that hip so then you can shoot when you do rotate, you can shoot it down, which then comes through like when your arm does come through, it's all in a linear fashion and it doesn't pop around that front hip. I think there is going to be a little pop when you do go into your block, but right now it's going over that front hip because you're not cleared, right? So if you see your foot, boom. And this is where we can get into our comparisons. This is a really good example because he's like freaking 150 billion across the infield. So this is a totally different throw. I understand in terms of like the feeling of the ground ball and staying down. It's just a really good visual too of like the time sensitiveness and the organization of the body to complete this move, right? So like staying down, this is where that drive leg is going to snap down, right? Boom. And then whap. And this is what I would say like the timing, the sequencing of all of this is like retract and rotate. Right? So when that Johnny's going into retraction, this Johnny is going into that rotation. That gives us a pretty good visual, right? For these things to happen. I would just say posture, especially from an infielder. I mean, from a pitcher as well, but posture does matter. So like even when you're practicing your reps, dude, like stay in it, stay in that hip, shoot it down. And I think that's going to, that overall just athleticism of that drive leg move is going to then give us a little bit more space, give us a little bit more time, and it's going to give us a little bit better ability to clear the hips, create more rotational energy, pull the arm through on a consistent, accordance to where the fingers are in relation to the baseball. That video is a really good visual representation of this, right? Because he gets to a point where like, yeah, his foot's turned, but he's clearing his hips. Like I said, when this front foot takes on force from the ground, we want the hips to clear, so we create all of this rotational energy, right? Torso's neutral, hips into rotation, that's a stretch, right? And that's why I like the retract idea. And then the clearing of the front side creates this chest stretch too, and then everything gets pulled through, and that's, no accident why he can get so much velo on his ball, and the fact that it's all coming, in a line. Even Lindor, this is I like this reference too, because it's like a kind of a 60% effort throw right here. But watch the drive leg, right? So as soon as it hops into the ground, we have ground contact there. Boom, it's going to stick and it's going to buy him time. Right? And then as soon as the elbow is retracting, we're looking up here, that's when this is starting to rotate. And it's not always going to look like this, dude. This is like that series of picture perfectness in a way. But I believe like this is the difference between guys that can throw, forever and throw it with power output versus the guys that have a lot of injuries that come up or arm health. Their arms always hanging because their arms having to do a lot as opposed to letting the ground work, right? Letting the lower half work. And I know it stays true for pitchers because like that's what we know. Pitchers need to use their leg, but it's the same thing for everybody. So the drive leg, right? Like what we do here matters for what we're doing when we anchor down, right? We need space, we need to clear, we need to create rotational energy, pull through. And I think right now, like you kind of stay in this upright position and there's no real sinking into that hip, which doesn't give you a ton of time in your stride. And then you have to pop over it, roll over it. And then this push up is going to influence this push up, and that's going to influence the inconsistencies out of the hand. Same thing, right? Time sensitiveness. He's got a little bit more time, so he's going to take himself a shuffle. And then boom, drive leg sticks. His hands are a little bit more tight, right? Because it's all about timing. I'm a big advocate of like working in unison of the hands and the feet and changing just ever so slightly the tempo and the timing of these working so your body can get recognition for that, right? And it can find its way to slot and it can find its way to organize. But as you see here with his hands, right? Like boom, the hand comes out of the glove, lead foot, and now that snap, bop, is down. Even though his torso posture is a little bit upright like yours, his drive leg snaps down. You can just look at the knee, internal rotation. Foot rotates, boom. You can almost see like the heel of the foot pop up if you're behind him as soon as this comes down. And for pitchers, I call this like the velocity enhancing move, is building as much rotational energy as we possibly can until the point in time in which we anchor down with our lead leg. That's when it's like, boom, now we have an anchor point and now we release this and it all comes pulling through. So that's what he does, dude. Like the drive leg mechanics is going to give him time to create a little bit better segmentation mechanics. Again, obviously there's time sensitiveness in a throw and we're not always going to be able to have the best like optimal picture perfect throwing mechanics, and at a certain point we just got to get the job done. But the more reps that I believe you give this, right, like the boom, the drive leg snaps, lead leg comes down to anchor, now we're locked. So now we've rotated, and this is another piece, since you don't truly clear, right? So like look at the back drive leg and watch the difference between you and him. So like boom, that's his front foot taking on load. Like there's a point in which it touches down on the ground, and then there's a point in which it actually takes on load, and I'd say that's right about there. If we get into the point where our heel had just disconnected from the ground and our front foot's already connected, that's going to be an issue for where your hips are in space. And then as soon as you start to then complete your rotation, this trail hip is going to shoot forward, and that's what I would say as like just another indicator of like your arm probably having to create a lot of independent energy and not allowing this energy flow from the ground to come up, and you're just, again, like you're not getting a whole lot back. But the good news is, dude, like freaking pull down's 95, your long toss is 300. You have such a strong arm. Now we just need to piece together the sequencing of it, right? Get into the drive leg, give yourself a little bit more time, stay down, even think about torso posture a little bit more, flexed maybe over the hip. I think maybe we'll clean up a little bit of that, give you a little bit more space. And if we can get you to clear, then we can stay in extension with the trail leg and we can block with that lead leg. Again, this isn't the difference between like freaking 105 and 95, right? Like this is the difference between like arm health, longevity. Yeah, maybe a few extra miles here and there, but I'm a big advocate of like the health, the optimization of the throwing mechanics is going to induce health, command, velocity, right? It's all connected. What's up, dudes? Your boy Robby. Thank you for watching that video. If you're interested in booking your own analysis, be sure to click the link that you see right there on the video screen. It will tell you everything you need to know about booking an analysis with me. And if you have any further questions for me, be sure to check out the description of the YouTube video you just watched for a link to contact me directly. Much love, guys. Until next time, talk to you later.